guys, Ben here from Second Dynasty. This will be a short stream today. I do have to head off early to help out the wife. We're getting into that period of the year where people are starting to go on holidays. There's a lot of different things on. Albin, of course, has already left the office, and Lisa is doing her last day tomorrow, and they'll both be off about another 3 weeks after that. However, after that point, then I go on holiday, so it's going to be a bit of a thing. We'll see what we do with streaming when we get to that point, but we have so much to cover before then, because on Tuesday night, we are releasing this baby, the Mark IV Space Shuttle Alpha. The link I can provide, maybe I can put this in the chat, we'll see. Oh, yes, it was still saved in memory. So you can check out that link if you haven't reserved things already. And I need to close off my my email program, or else we'll be getting messages up all the time. Much that might stress out a few of our viewers, I know. But there's a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I'm losing track of time, we did talk about light solutions for the Mark IV. This is the Mark III Plus, I will call it. We'll talk about that shortly. And like I said, I'm probably only going to be able to talk for about half an hour max today. Hey, Kathy. So a couple of weeks ago, we tested out the induction-based lighting, and the conclusion that I came to is, despite the fact that I had quite a large induction coil, I think it's about 20-25 centimeters in diameter, the lights were quite weak when they were side-facing, which is what we want, powerful engine lights, right? So it wasn't going to cut it for that. And the setup isn't going to work for the Beowulf anyway, so I need to think about either feeding in a USB cable as some kind of, like, fuel line or something like that, or dealing with batteries in the Beowulf. So we'll see what happens. However, the Shuttle Alpha Mark IV does have some lighting solutions. I still will put out these light holders so that if you do want to change the orientation, for example, you could make a portal and have the lighting facing, on a 90-degree angle, and then the engine lights would be quite strong. These would make very powerful lights. However, at present, what I'm planning on doing is actually, like what I did in the cockpit, I have put in a few test lights, or rather holes for lights. I guess I could move those lights to where the actual lights will be, to create some cockpit lighting. So the idea is I'm actually going to combine some battery-powered engine lights with some induction lights for ceiling lights, and maybe even I'll play with control panels. But if I do that kind of experimentation, will be during the campaign itself, which again starts July 5th, probably 7 p.m. local time, so that would be 6 p.m. UK time, and about 1 p.m. East Coast US time. So first, before we get any further, hey John, let's get the close-up camera on, because I want to show off my solution. The ramp isn't secured at the moment. The cockpit isn't either. Now we have the rear lamps. There we go. Now that's what I call bright, right? That turns up really nice on camera. These are just single LEDs that I had left over. If I turn off the lights, and actually, let's take this apart real quick. The cockpit keeps trying to assault me. Or rather, the control panels from the cockpit. Okay, so here we have the engines, right? And you can kind of just see those lamps right in there. Here we have 2 buttons, 2 batteries. It's quite an ugly solution, and there's a few misprints on this one. But the idea being that you have your buttons here, engine 1, engine 2, there you go. So you can easily just reach in under the rim to ignite, right? You've got some nice powerful engine effects there. And then close up the ramp. So how does this work? Well, now for one thing, this piece used to be one piece, right? And you needed to put supports all along down the bottom. Now, I have some adhesion issues with my printer at the moment. It does need a fine-tuning. And you can kind of see I've jury-rigged some solutions there where it wasn't quite fitting. The batteries in this version, very squishy. I do have a new version. But you can kind of see here, I've got some coin cells there that feed into some light switches. The examples I used were built for a completely different project, so the wiring is a lot longer than it needs to be. But I figured now Zoroma can print this out and test the lengths himself to get a nice solution there. You could probably actually run both lights off a single coin cell. I don't know how necessary that would be, but yeah, again, I built these engines modularly so you can screw off the nozzle. This also just wedges out, right? So in theory, you can easily switch out what kind of design you want in there and what kind of nozzle. So we have some options for when we actually do, some stretch goals, which is something I'm looking at designing, well, over the weekend. I'm going to be dog sitting all weekend though, so we'll see how well my dog cooperates with me. He does not like to be left alone. So yeah, hopefully you guys are happy with this as I am. I like playing with the lights, obviously. So yeah, easy and less complex, a little bit messy, but with its own power supply. Also, I think these coin cells last something stupid like over 10 hours. Which is a lot longer than you would need. That's 2 role-playing sessions, or at least, yeah, we never play that long anymore. But yeah, it should be lit up all day, in the least. If you even need it lit up, because assumably you only want the engines on when you're actually using them, right? So that was one major thing I wanted to show off. And I think it came out well. What's going on here? Oh, it wasn't clicked together properly. I don't have the really fancy clips at the moment. I've just got some springy clips. So when I'm finished with this, I'll be... Sorry, I should keep it in frame. When I'm finished with this, you can see I haven't snapped it together properly yet. I'm going to switch those out for the tight clips instead for the bottom part. Also, I need to change out the nose. I guess I haven't... Let's put the lights on again so you can see the effect. Okay, alright. That's that part. Then let's focus on the cockpit, because I don't think I showed this off last time. So here is the controls. I haven't actually got these put in with the filament yet, although the filament holes are there. This really doesn't want to focus, does it? Let's see, focus not on my hair. There you go. Alright. So I haven't done any cleanup whatsoever here. I did lose one of the hand controls while I was at it, but I'm kind of happy with the detail level. I mean, we will probably print that in resin, but we still haven't got our resin setup done yet, so... Alright, so I'm going to turn off the lighting because you can see it's slow to respond. Let's see, turn off the lighting. You can see that responds a lot better, right? So we have a lot going on in this scene, actually. It's all just hidden. Like, we have our workshop stuff. As usual, the scene size is getting a bit large. But one of the reasons why it's as large as it is because I've kept in the scenes, the product files for the Mark III shuttle and all of the variants for the Mark II. So essentially, I'll try and explain it better when I'm actually doing the pitch film. And I'll take a moment in a second to look at some questions too. But in Starship 2, we did our initial concept. It was very rough, just sort of like a sketch sort of thing. Maybe we can, let's see, maybe we've got some campaign graphics here. So here we go. So the Mark 1, you can kind of see exactly how rough it is. You can see all the chamfering. I mean, that's still true of the Mark II. But you can see that the whole detail, all of these paneling and the RCS thrusters are missing. So really no detail. So that was the Mark 1 that we put out with Starship 2. It was an add-on. And then when I fleshed it out to the Mark II, that's when we got the inspiration for doing Starship 3. So this was a version in Starship 3. I call it the Mark II, but really it's just what we call the detail version of the shuttle. And then the Mark III, obviously this is actually not just a Mark III, it's got like its own turret. So it's a Mark II on the exterior with the wings instead of just the VTOL engines. And it also has a turret at the back. But the major improvement with the Mark III was actually the interior, which is, if we take off the top here, the main change was actually not with the flooring, but with the hull detailing. So if we take any of these hull plates, you can see that the interior is actually mapped out. Now, this is a working file because I'm actually working on the bottom of the ship right now. Why am I doing that? Because I intend one of the stretch goals to be the actual like if we get enough people interested, what I'd like to do is upgrade the Mark III hull detailing, like the fidelity, and probably just switch out some of the interior parts to standardize it as well, so that it will be on par with the Mark IV. So that would just be an upgrade that all versions of the shuttle, original shuttle Alpha, will get, and then the Mark IV will be obviously the new design change. Hey Zorima, you missed the important part at the beginning where I've solved the lighting. Let's go back to this briefly again so you can see it. So I just took some of the old coin cells that you've already sent me ages ago, and we installed them for the main engines, and then I'll probably use induction for interior lighting. There's more details there, but essentially we can look at this again real quick. I'm saying Zorima because Zorima's my lighting guy, and he will probably put together some lighting kits. So essentially you've got place for some coin cells there, feeds into the switch, there's some channels for extra cabling, you just feed it through the nozzle, and then we have a bunch of different options for the actual end result. So if you want to use induction lighting, oh, sorry, I'll go over that again. So this is all set up to take lighting. This is the newest part. I've test printed a bunch of stuff. So Zorima, you should be able to get this part now, print them out, and fit the lighting and figure out what you want to sell. Although, guys, that is a third-party deal. We'll put them up on the website with links to them when they are ready. But that's not something Second Dynasty itself is dealing with. That will be Zorima's support house, or whatever he will be calling the lighting side of things. I think in the end, the coin cells just were an easier solution to have powerful rear lights. And then the beautiful thing about the induction lighting is I can still leave room. You can see them on the ceiling here. That if you want to use induction lighting, you can just plug them in to get some nice interior lighting. If not, hey, it's on the ceiling. It's an area you never see. But yeah, I'm trying to get to this point where I have all I need for Tuesday, because Tuesday is coming fast, and obviously I also need to visualize a couple of the stretch goals. First one's very easy, it's just the winglets, not too much to that. It's literally ready to go, right? So the winglets version. But then The other stuff I'm kind of open to for suggestions. I definitely want to do weapons packs and that sort of thing. Because I have built it more modularly, it is easier to do modifications. But, you know, at the end of the day, I think there's only one piece left, and that's this one, that the actual Mark 3 and 4 share in common. The rest are all different. I mean, they look quite similar. They are quite similar. But the other thing too is because we, you know, the whole, if we look at the rear of this, okay, again, we've only got parts of it. This is all designed to print flat on the bed like so. So if you imagine the bed is here, the print bed. So you needed to support all of this area under here. Now the Mark IV instead has a nicer solution where these back plates are actually separate. So they just snap in there, right? And there's some plates covering them as well. So the overall look is a lot better. And again, we've cut this engine piece in two. The engine nozzles themselves, again, got to remember the camera work this time. The nozzles just twist off. So we can replace the nozzles with different styles. Or engine cones, whatever you want to call them. Switch back to the scene. And yeah, then we have the upgraded Mark III, which I figure like the idea is that everyone that's backed the Shuttle Alpha in the past or bought a Shuttle Alpha will automatically get this updated version if we hit the stretch goal for it. But that's and so they won't have to pay for the Mark IV if they don't want to. But the caveat being that if you don't support the Mark IV, there's a chance that the updated version of the original Shuttle Alpha is not going to make it. And you can kind of see here by the front hasn't been done yet. The next piece has been done. That's the difference in fidelity between the new version and the old version. You can see there's a new detailing here, which will pick up paint real nice. We have the smoother version here at the back. So at the moment, and then of course we have the new style engines, which are designed to take these engine cones. This version has the Mark IV style, and we'll do a version if we put the workshop back on here. I'm going to do a version with the original. It'll be quite similar. It might not be exactly the same, but it will allow you to swap those out, because I know not everyone likes those sort of like more conventional rocket engine style ones. So I don't know if we'll do anything with these lights, or I'm not going to promise anything because the Mark III series is not really what we're focusing on at the moment. But I would like to make the nacelles a lot more modular, and I've actually done that here. This new version does have some weapon mounts. Can just move all of this junk aside. Actually, we can hide the workshop files so they're not in the way. So what I've done is, if we open this up, I'm probably going to change the way that this connects, because I've made this into two parts, obviously, as you can see. This is A, to make it easier to rig lighting, but B, these pegs were never very solid. So my idea is that in the new version, rather than having it all split up like it does now, you actually have a third part in the middle that just will connect to the piece in front of it. And then, you know, you put the piece in and you can get the connection done, but also we can have alternative pieces, so that makes it easier to, for example, wire things up if you wanted to have lights in those. So my plan moving forward is to make things so that if you want to light your ship, there will be channels and places where you can easily wire them if you want to wire them. If you want to use induction lighting, that's fine. We just need holders for induction lighting. So the whole story here is to make the Mark 3 and 4 better, easier to print, and also with more detail. Like here is the undetailed version of the original, and here is the updated version. So there's just a little bit more going on. I'm not maybe 100% finished with this. Again, those are just prototypes. But then, like, also when we look at the interior, the Mark IV does have a different purpose. Like here it's more like a dropship, right, where you could put in some cargo. And this is like the Mark II interior too. There's a few bits missing. The Mark III is more like this side, where you can see there's no additional wall on the inside. I think I have that somewhere, but I'm not sure where it is in the scene, so I won't worry about it right now. Let's see, add that to Mark III top. Yeah, this is a new nozzle holder that should also be there. So we just have a cargo bay. We have John's new working ramp. This is a great ramp. It works fantastic. And I think there's an updated version I haven't test printed yet. Actually, that would be something good to get on the printer tonight, but I don't know if we'll have time. We've repurposed some of the flooring. Whoops, we've got some bleed here. That should be Lambert 1. Oh, you don't want to go. Let's change the shader completely and then switch it back to Lambert 1. There we go. I mean, it's an STL, so it's not going to matter, but... so yeah, we have the interior floor here for cargo. You have your inner airlock, and actually... Oh, we can show how this ramp works, right? So it folds up like so. The doors open like so. Let's just play through all of this. So up, open, open. And so in here we have some living quarters. I'm not quite finished, but there's a very, very cramped bathroom. Sorry guys, I think the shower is asking too much of this cramped ship. I think you would have a space bath. So yeah, basically just wipe yourself down. And then a kitchenette on the other side. So we've kind of taken the camper concept again. With this one, I did want the Mark IV to be a bit different. And my kind of inspiration for layout, as well as some of the exterior, is like the Misk Freelancer from Star Citizen. I mean, it's not quite the same, but it kind of reminds me of that. So we have 2 passenger seats, and then we have the new cockpit, which I believe I showed off last week. Way more detail. And I want to add some more controls and detail like this to the Mark III, and that's all going to depend on how successful the campaign is. So I'm just going to look through the chat here and see if we had any questions that I missed. Let's see. Console all-in-one LED light. They are bright, although they are brighter on camera, I must say. Common LED lights require 3 volts, meaning 2 button cells is a requirement to get the voltage right. Alright, John. Give him a rabbit. What? Bailey would love a rabbit. Oh, Bailey, you're talking about my dog, right? Yeah, okay. The modular engine design looks great. Thanks, Aerospace Smith. I mean, from someone with a name like that, that seems like a good compliment. Everything about the Alpha Shuttle is made to be easier. Oh, that's just John trying to sell stuff. Mark III is already pretty easy to print. I don't disagree. We've gotten better over the years, but it can be better. And the way that it can be better is through having less supports. And I'll probably do the build plate thing too with the 3MF format, like we did for Starship: The Next Generation. So that's the idea. And then the Mark 1 looks like the plastic model ship from the late 80s. It does. which is why I kind of was inspired to change this. All right, I guess we're caught up. So, again, we're short on time today. I don't really know what I can get done in such a short time. Some of this is really last minute, but at the moment, what I'm really struggling with is ideas. Sorry, getting the graphics up for the campaign and trying to visualize a couple of stretch goals so that we're able to reach that. Although we're trying something different on Kickstarter this time, where we're going to put the stretch goal. The funding will be at €5,000, so that's a lot higher than what our normal funding ceiling is at, and because the ship is only going to cost you about $25 for the ship and the stretch goals, it is going to be harder to reach that funding goal. So the stretch goals will basically unlock a little bit later, right? But the key here is, we're going on holiday soon, so I don't want to create too much of a backlog of work. But the main thing is, I've designed the ship to be fairly modular so that implementing some variants, but mostly like modifications, like different armaments or that sort of thing. We could possibly do a version where we ditched the bottom thrusters and maybe replaced that with some like missile bays. That would be possible, which would be functional, of course. That's one thing we've done now, where the bay doors here are separate. But also, the more variants that we do, the higher the risk is that we make it less compatible with the Mark III. So we'll see how this goes. But at the moment, I'm looking for suggestions. If you want to put them up on the Discord, that would be great. And yeah, check it out on Tuesday. Hope you guys will stop by and check it out. We'll probably stream on Tuesday because obviously we are launching. But I'm not incredibly certain of the time. I'm pretty sure it'll be 1900 hours local. So again, I'm just going to drop the link. It's in the description as well. There's the link to reserve. And I am going to end the stream now because I have to go. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And I'll see you Tuesday. Bye, guys.